Konami needs to do better. I know they are money hungry, so do better prizes and show your love to your fans, and you would get even more people playing, which translates to more money. Look at Pokemon, they can definitely do it. I mean, as much as I think Konami can be doing better, I do think that there is a difference between Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! As in terms of IP popularity, which basically mean, and same with One Piece on some level, like why One Piece is able to do as much as they're doing right now so quickly is because their IPs are just currently like more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is currently not in the up in terms of pop culture. I'm hoping the like anime changes that, but like in terms of like, you know, how much money they're making, Yu-Gi-Oh's making good money. It's just not making Pokemon money. Pokemon has the anime, Pokemon has the card game, Pokemon has the video game. Yu-Gi-Oh has like a fraction of all that in terms of like IP resources, I guess. I don't know like a better term for that, but that's why Pokemon's able to keep pushing it. I think that should not obfuscate responsibility from Konami to do better by their players, because I think you're right that there is like a return on investment if you're able to invest in your player base. If you treat your player base well, they will come back, right? Like I think Konami's already treated, their player base. There's a reason why people keep coming back. I mean, people call it an abusive relationship, but I do think like overall Konami has done a good job. Like that, like I don't think by any stretch of imagination you can call Konami what they've done with Yu-Gi-Oh! A bad job, since the game's still going and we're still having regionals and stuff like that. But like also at the same time, they could be doing so much more. And even though like the creator said, oh, no prize or cash prizes, okay, whatever, like pay for people's flights, or like do flight credit, do ultimate rare ash blossoms that say YCS Houston with your name on it or something if you're in top 32, stuff like that. Give more, do stuff on, you can just print more product that's exclusive. Like for some reason Worlds is the only thing that gets like exclusive like unique prizing. Yeah, Soul by Design, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon are on two totally different levels when it comes to users, revenue streams, and games. Yeah, I don't, but like I don't think that should ever be a reason to obfuscate. Like I said, like to let Konami off the hook, right? Like I don't think what they're doing is quite enough. But also I'm not on like the position where I'm like fuck Konami. Like I mean I already think that they're responding somewhat, but they need to be doing more, right? I don't even know if you can call upgrading to a Steam Deck a response, because that had to happen no matter what, because literally the Switch 2 is coming out. If they're giving out Switch 1s, when the Switch 2's a thing, I'm not quite sure if they would have upgraded to Steam Decks if there wasn't a Switch 2. I'm not fully convinced of that, which is not a good thing. I think they're going to have to prove that they're going to do better in the future and do like things here and there that help like the player base. Like I said, like unique custom cards. Like literally you could just get a super rare Ash Blossom for like entering the tournament, right? Like everyone gets a super rare Ash Blossom on entry that says like YCS Houston 2025. Them things will sell for like $30, right? Like and you already get packs of sleeves, and you get a coin, right? Which is good, right? For just entering the YCS. Like that's good. You should get more than that. I mean, you don't even get a pack of sleeves. You get a pack of sleeves if you top. I think it's just pitiful when people top 16, like my man Yuri Diaz, he fought his way to the top in the middle of fucking Snake Eye format, and they gave him like 32 packs or whatever and like a playmat. And it to me, like when people put their heart and soul into this game, I do think, it's not an obligation by Konami. They don't need to do anything, but I think that's like genuinely spitting in your players. Like, and obviously no one's forcing anyone to go to these YCSs, but if people like your game enough and and obviously Konami notices this, right? Like there's enough staff at all these events to take notes. Like when people are traveling country to country, grinding, World's points grinding, people play the 72-hour DC Cup in just like like lose brain cells over doing that fucking event because you have to stay up for 72 hours, or you have to just like, you know, people just be doing like account sharing and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things that they could be doing more. Pokemon is making the most amount of money from merch though. That's true too, yeah, because people just love Pokemon, right? Like it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh is quite like that in the pop culture anymore. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like we had an anime that, you know, kids got into, but also like, you know, cut across generations, kind of like the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime did, then that'd be a different story. But you know, we were hoping Master Duel would be like that. I do think Master Duel got through the pop culture a bit. Like, you saw people like Ludwig, Disguised Toast, like, you know, there were people who aren't traditionally Yu-Gi-Oh players trying Yu-Gi-Oh, which is what we need more of, and that's why I hope the anime brings. I'm afraid it's not going to be enough. Like, they do need another push. Like, they should be doing several different micro pushes, Konami. You know, they release the anime. They make it so you get a free Master Duel pack in every single physical pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? You get a code you can redeem it on Master Duel to get a pack of cards, right? Like immediately, just it doesn't cost them anything except for potential revenue you're losing from giving them a free fucking pack. Like, who cares? There are people who are gonna still buy your cards, right? Like make the most popular deck cost one more UR. Like, it's not gonna break anyone's back. Like, I do think, you know, they could also be doing, like, you know, TCG Simulator being pushed right after. If I'm being honest though, like, I don't even know if TCG has enough. Like, the issue is like Dueling Book is there, so like most good players are gonna stick to Dueling Book unless the simulator's better than Dueling Book. And if it's not, if it's automatic, I don't think people will think it's better than Dueling Book. But then again, if they give it like a it's so weird, right? Because if they make a TCG simulator, what do? Do they give it its own worlds, or is it just like a TCG simulator? There's no, like, no, it's gonna have a TCG Master Duel worlds. So then they're having like 10 different worlds, and they have 2 different TCG worlds. So that's why I'm just like, I can see where the logic kind of, like, it's not an easy thing to do a TCG, especially when like Yu-Gi-Oh's player base isn't like, you know, this isn't Fortnite, right? Like, you can't have like 20 different game modes and expect to get population. I think they play it way too safe by only doing one event plus one basic playlist. Like, I think Master Duel has more players than Dueling Book, and Dueling Book is just fine. Like, Dueling Book has Edison, Dueling Book has custom cards, Dueling Book has unlimited. So, you know what? Fuck it. They really should add the other formats on Master Duel. That's what they should do. Master Duel has enough players to populate it. I don't know how you guys feel. I need another QCR Crimson Dragon for my Adventure Synchron. I said they got rid of it before Tenpai got Shin went up. Oh no. Yeah, those Crimson Dragons went up, man. I remember when that was actually only like $10. The secret rare. Yeah, they don't have Pokemon money, but they definitely have money. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. I think they could be doing better. Angra Minu, how you doing? I'm doing well, brother. We're just chilling. How you doing, bro? I read your chat way too late from before. I thought they were going to give out Switch 2s. That has not been confirmed yet. Unless Julia said that at an event and someone posted on Zodiac. And also EU is just completely different. Like literally EU and like US, like they have different like pricing structures. like I don't even think we're getting Steam Decks in the US yet. Right? Like, am I wrong, or do you get Steam Deck in the US? I'm not good enough to earn one. If you have a UR card, making a second or third copy should not be 30 UR, should be like 15, 20. See, like, I don't mind because it's permanent. Like, the value proposition of Master Duel is that this is gonna be the simulator, the official Yu-Gi-Oh simulator going like no other one. So, like, when I have a Fulos, 10 years from now, my Fulos will still be good, right? I think that's, like, what they're thinking there. So, like, you know, it's not the biggest thing to me, but I do think it sucks for the people who used all their gems on their favorite deck, and then the meta happened, right? Because not everyone gets, like, not everyone wants to play branded, which is okay. You know, not every deck is branded where you get to use it across formats. And I'm not calling decks shit because they're not like that. It's just that branded has been lucky because Konami loves branded, and like the deck is fucking genuinely evergreen. And I'm lucky that's the deck I picked up because, you know, people used to call branded expensive because of thrust, but once you picked up your thrust, you were fine, you know? You were fine for 2 years. Once you picked up your, you know, thrusts were $70 a copy, but, like, once you had them, like, branded was cheap, you know? I agree, Diabellstar body pillows for top 16. I don't even want to know how much money those would go for on the aftermarket. It would probably be a disgusting amount of money. Sonic Rage, yeah, I have no hate towards them. I just wish they did more. I'm very passionate about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like many others. Yeah, I think we always need to distinguish, like, passion from hate, because there are a lot of content creators, and people who just say, like, fuck Konami and, like, fuck everything. I just feel like that's not productive. Like it's not gonna be productive for anybody for me to just go on here and, like, bash Konami every day, because they're the people who provide us the game we love to play at the end of the day. And, like, if you look at companies like Bandai, I think they could be doing a lot worse. I think Bandai has gotten their shit together in recent years, but, you know, Bandai used to be the company to make a card game support for 2 years and then abandon it, and they're still doing that. But, like, they got One Piece, which is their baby now, and it's doing really well because One Piece is just, like, it's the in thing, right? Like, if it's probably the most popular anime slash manga right now. I know it is in Japan, relatively, like, depending. And then the Netflix series really helped, like, westernize the audience for One Piece. You know, if we got a live action Yu-Gi-Oh that was good on top of, like, maybe a reboot of the original, I don't know if a reboot of the original would even do at this point, to be honest. That's the issue. And, like, with the creator being gone, I think, like, it's kind of tenuous. I think, like, taking leaps and bounds with Yu-Gi-Oh, the IP is tenuous now that Kazuki is gone, honestly, which sucks. Because I think, like, you know, it sucks that Kazuki is gone. Like, I think, you know, like, it's one of those things where, like, growing up, Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh were things that, you know, I grew up on. And you know, Kazuki and Toriyama, you know, the Dragon Ball Z creator, all passing within, like, 2 years of each other was, like, crazy to me, honestly. It's like, because it's like we'll never see those new ideas again for these IPs from the person who made the story, right? Like, I would have loved to see a sequel for, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I don't know if there's the drive in the current, like, people running the Yu-Gi-Oh IP to do that type of thing, especially when there's no drive. I mean, this is a completely different part of Konami. There's no drive to do cash prizing because of the creator's wishes, right? Which is the frustrating part about the TCG, because I want the TCG to expand, but between it's, like, really, it's a tough game to learn. Yu-Gi-Oh, like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh, like, it might not be apparent for the people who've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh every year and they got to experience the micro changes every year and it was just fine. But Yu-Gi-Oh's a really tough game to learn at the current state. Like someone said before, like, he came back after, like, 2014 and the game was super tough to learn, and that was the same thing with me, right? Like, that's not conducive to, like, a game expanding, right? So that's why I do think, like, things like Master Duel being best of one, for better or for worse, is the future of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, I could see best of one happening. This might be a hot take, and I wouldn't prefer this, but I think best of one might eventually happen in the TCG. Because 2 out of 3 is great, but, like, it really, like, what card game's doing 2 out of 3, right? Most card games are best of one, right? Like, I think it leads to I don't know, it leads to very long tournaments, and then also people just get, like, they don't want to play their games 2 and 3, right? They just want to be one and done. It's just the user experience. So that's why, like, yeah, I hope they bring a TCG simulator. If anything, I wish it was best of one with TCG ban list. I genuinely just hate the Master Duel ban list more than I don't like best of one kind of thing. Like, I could deal with best of one TCG. I think I'd be perfectly fine with that. It depends, because I like the side deck for Malice, but it's just like, okay, then For doing best of one, let's have weekly ban or monthly ban lists like Master Duel and address these things so we don't have to deal with this shit. So I'm just kind of worried about the longevity of TCG if they don't do something. Whether it's, you know, streamline the game. I don't think Go Rush is, like, making a whole different game. That's not the play. That's not the play. You know? And the issue is Yu-Gi-Oh! Is already a really tough game to learn. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with the Yu-Gi-Oh! IP. But also, the thing that, like, sticks with the game is, like, you know, there's just a passionate, like, people, like, watching Yugi send Kaiba's evil soul to the Shadow Realm with fucking Exodia and the Mind Crush, like, that shit changed people for generations kind of thing, right? Like, watching that first on Saturday morning cartoons or wherever they found it. So there's gonna be forever people just into the game until they die off kind of thing. And there's always people, new players coming in and old players coming out because they're like, oh, the game's too fast now. But then people, you know, see the anime and they pick it up. But it's nothing on, it's just kind of like a constant cycle of people coming in and out. And it gradually getting slightly bigger, it seems like. Right? Because, like, we are still, like, breaking YCS records, I think. I don't know if we did this year, but I know Europe did. Thanks for subscribing, Rafa. Appreciate it. You got me closer to 10,000 subscribers, brother. We're just doing a impromptu Metagames GX podcast. In 2023, Konami made over 30 million. They can do better. Hopefully they can one day. I mean, but remember, Konami has, like, a bunch of other IP, right? So, like, that money has to be reinvested into that IP before Yu-Gi-Oh! I think, like, the point is, like, you know, Pokemon's other IP isn't funding Pokemon. Pokemon is funding Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be funding Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is, but it's just not on the level that a lot of people would want it. IMO, they should make it where you change 10 and then 50 rares into 10 UR points. Imagine they gave full art Starlight Mulcharmy for winning a YCS or QCRS mat or something. What would a QCR mat look like? That sounds really cool. They are also currently inviting VTubers from HoloLive to do some tournaments events for the micro push nowadays. Kiseki. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I think the master, like, what happened to US Challenger Series for Master Duel? You know, they really are dropping the ball with Master Duel. They could make Master Duel where there's, like, online regionals for Master Duel that you can sign up for every week, tournaments and stuff like that. Like, they could have Edison format on Master Duel, or a constant, like, every week there's a new Time Wizard, and constantly, so you can just be a Time Wizard player. They could be doing all these things, and they're not. God, if Master Duel had a constantly rotating like a new format every week, I might be like, that would re-addict me to Master Duel. Like, every week I'd just be scrambling for gems, seeing, like, which deck I'm inching closer towards kind of thing. And to me, I'm not really, once again, I have branded. Like, maybe I'm saying high in the sky, but, like, you know, I played this event, I got, like, 4K gems, like, I'm chilling, right? Like, that was just from this month, right? Like how many gems I got right here. So I do think there is, like, you have to play Master Duel a lot. And by a lot, I mean win a lot and ranked. And then play the events. But when you do that, I think the game genuinely does somewhat respect your time with gems. Because, what, like, 500 gems is, like, the equivalent of $80? Like, sure. Like, if every month I can grind out $80 worth of gems, if I log on every other day, essentially, right? Play the event that happens every month. Like I think a lot of people just have to get a deck that's good across formats, and it's hard to piece up together, like, what, but you kind of just have to find a deck that's gonna be good for, like, a year plus kind of thing with Master Duel, so you can, like every season with ranked, you can guarantee yourself like, all these gems, right? Pod Me Woo 12. Did you listen to the new Cardi album? I'm not a huge Playboy Cardi guy. I don't, like, hate Playboy Cardi. He's never been I don't think I've, the last time I had a Cardi song in my playlist was probably 2021 or something. It was like a one of. It's like a goddamn called by I never saw. Is it good? I did see the Aiden Ross clip where he was like, or the clip where Cardi was telling Kai Senat that he didn't. I'm like way too old to know any of this, but where he was calling where he was just like Aiden Ross isn't my people, which is just like so funny to be like, yeah, I'm gonna like steal 20. I'm just gonna take Aiden's 20K for having me on stream, say nothing on stream, and then just dip, and then be like, yeah, Kai, have me on stream. Like he's just not my people. Like that was just kind of sus to me. But also, hey, who am I to judge, and what do I know? I'm like 27, so I don't know any of this shit. The Magic Geek brother, let me just say I have at least one deck for each relevant TCG besides Pokemon. I can tell you the most powerful card of them all is the credit card. Don't you think that one of the issues that Yu-Gi-Oh is too complicated, not very friendly to new players? Yeah, no, I mentioned that for sure. I definitely mentioned that. I think that's actually arguably the biggest barrier to entry, which is why I think like best of one might help solve that, because the side deck adds like 5 dimensions to the game. It's to the gameplay, and it also just makes the games longer, right? If you're playing a 55 in Yu-Gi-Oh games, if they don't hit time, will literally go an hour and a half, right? I'm sorry guys, people don't want to play hour and a half card game. Like League of Legends cut, like I remember people were complaining with League of Legends when the games were taking 40 minutes, right? Like I think at some point we're gonna have to, like, Konami's gonna have a tough decision with the TCG if they want to expand it, and they're gonna have to simplify the TCG, whether that's with a new mechanic or making it best of one, and then banning a lot of like, you know, whatever generic combo pieces, so you have to play more archetypes, and things aren't as crazy with deck building, so things are maybe, because I feel like formats like this with like ryzeal and Kashtira format like are a lot easier for people to jump into, because, or like tier limit format, because you can just like pick up a deck, like find a build and just play. Like I think ryzeal is pretty straightforward. I think maliss is kind of hard, but once you learn it, you learn it. You know, tier limit was pretty easy to pick up. It was so strong that you could just like freestyle, and like skillful players can like skill gap. Like I think that's like the sweet spot the TCG needs to be in with decks, like where the decks aren't tough as nails to learn, but you can still skill gap if you're at high level. That's kind of like what Molcharmy does to the game. Like it lets players get free wins, but then it lets the better players skill gap at a higher level, because like the people who aren't as good at the game will get more free wins off the Fuwalos, and then they're going to be like, oh, at least like I got some wins, right? Because I was able to resolve Fuwalos. Like I'm not just going 0-10. You know, this is why they do skill-based matchmaking on some level. It's like literally like people hate COD skill-based matchmaking. I hate COD. I don't play COD because of skill-based matchmaking. But like I understand why they do it, because some people don't go like going 0-10. Like no one's gonna play your game anymore if you're going 0-10. No, do you really think someone's gonna keep playing Yu-Gi-Oh if they're just getting their face smashed in by Snake Eye, right? Like one of the goats says Uxum. And many decks are too strong in best of one blind format like Tenpai, and become significantly weaker in best of 3. Best of 3 really lets you counteract plays and gives you a chance at comebacks, though. Casually best of 1, yeah, but for competitiveness, I think best of 3 is the way. I mean, I think they could just do best of 3 for top cuts of YCSs. I think that would be fine. And like I wouldn't mind it. Like once again, this is just like at the moment I'm fine with it. I just think if you're trying to expand Yu-Gi-Oh, there will be a time that you kind of have to consider changing some of the fundamental structures of how like of how these tournaments are set up. By the way, thanks for the vibes, brother, on a Friday night. I appreciate you, Sonic Rage. Been doing this for too long. At this point, I've lost hope that Konami, in giving us decent prizes to reward our hard work and dedication, might as well play something else. And that's what it feels like. I mean, if you if you want, I mean, it sucks, but yeah, no, like, I think there's nothing stopping people who want to play a game that actually, like, you know, pays to play, like One Piece or Lorcana or One Piece Lorcana or whatever, even Magic, right, or Flesh and Blood, like literally any other card game. But I play Yu-Gi-Oh because I like Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's why we all play it, right? I think this is a good thing, as it keeps it really interesting, gives you a high ceiling, which helps you showcase, different skill sets. Let's just say you have a first turn Madex or two. I mean, like, I don't disagree. Like, I think, like I said, if it was best of one, they'd have to do a monthly ban list like Master Duel, you know, and like don't let Tenpai just fucking be a duck, right? Like they have the ability to print ducks, right? And they could do what I think the most realistic thing, they would do what the OCG does, where like YCSs are best of one, and then like local levels are like, you know, whatever. And then also I think top cut of YCSs in Japan are best of three. Because every Japan top cut live stream I've ever watched was best of three. But I know the YCSs, the Swiss rounds are best of one. I could be wrong. The top cut is, it might be the same thing.